Welcome to the learning portal of Thakur Vidya Mandir High School and Junior College. Welcome to the learning portal of Thakur Vidya Mandir High School and Junior College. In the last video lecture, we have learned about operating system, information management. We'll continue the same topic in this video as well. The topics which will be covered in this lecture will be file organization or access method, allocation methods of information, device driver, what is visual display unit, and video RAM. So let's start. Our first topic is file organization or access method. The main objective is to see how data is organized for storage and retrieval purposes. File System Manager manages the storing and retrieving scheme. It has full authority of accessibility and taking decision. The main objective function of File System Manager is to organize or systemize all the data in order to enhance total system performance and efficiency. The type of storing and retrieval scheme is decided by configuration of computer system. In normal operation, file can be systemized or organized by two ways. First is sequential file organization and second is direct file organization. What is sequential file organization? As the name suggests, it's a basic file organization. Sequential means one after the other. The records of the files are stored in physical order, one after the other as you create. The order is same for writing and deleting or reading. That is, you have no choice to change the reading order of record. This scheme is suitable for electromagnetic storing devices like tapes and so on. It is one of the simple method of file organization. Here, each file and records are stored one after the other in a sequential manner, and this can be achieved in two ways. First, records are stored one after the other as they are inserted into tables. This method is called pile file method. When a new record is inserted, it is placed at the end of the file. In the case of any modification or deletion of the record will be searched in the memory block. Once it is found, it will be marked for deleting and a new block of record is entered. The second method, records are sorted either in ascending or descending order each time they are inserted into the file system. This method is called sorted file method. Sorting of records may be based on primary key or any of the other columns. Whenever a new record is inserted, it will be inserted at the end of the file and then it will sort in ascending or descending based on the key value and placed at the correct position. In the case of update, it will update the record and then sort the file to the place the updated record in the right place. Advantages of sequential file organization. The next record physically resides after the previous one, so separate pointer is not required to keep the track of the records while reading them. It is a unidirectional access. Third, this is device independent, so any of the devices can be used to organize sequential file automatically. Portability gets enhanced. What are the disadvantages? If you want any record, then you must always start from the first record. When desired record is found, you can read the record. You cannot directly access a particular record, so it's time consuming. This leads to non-optimal utilization of device and low access efficiency. Direct file organization. In order to overcome the main disadvantage of large access time and inefficiency in sequential file organization, the concept of direct file organization was developed. Direct file organization accesses the records to record physical address on a direct access storage devices. What is direct? That is random file organization. So records are stored randomly but accessed directly. To access a file stored randomly, a record key is used to determine where the record is stored on a storage media. This type of file organization is basically used in magnetic and optical disk. So here we come with the advantage of direct file organization. Any record in the file can be accessed randomly and access time is minimized. What are the disadvantages? As the physical address is to be generated, automatically processing time gets increased. The mechanical movement of input-output device is more. Possibility of poorer utilization. Cannot be stored on sequential access devices like magnetic tapes, that is, it is not device independent. Moving on to the next topic, that is allocation method. For the allocation of disk space to various files, two major philosophies are there. One is contiguous and the other one is non-contiguous. We'll learn about contiguous first. In this scheme, user estimate maximum file size that the file can grow up to, considering the future expansion, and then request the operating system to allocate those blocks at the time of creation of file. Operating system normally uses block allocation list to manage the disk space. The list gives the count of blocks on the disk. It also gives you whether the block is free or allocated. It is more useful to maintain two different tables. One is of allocated block and the other is of free block. Whenever a new file is created, depending on the size of the file, operating system can allocate continuous area. If there are multiple free blocks, then which should be chosen? For that, following methods are used. We'll learn that in the next PPT. Now, as we have entries of free blocks, which one must be chosen, can be decided using either of these strategies. The strategies are first fit, best fit, and worst fit strategy. Let's learn each one of them in detail. What is first fit? Here, the searching starts either at the beginning of the table or from where the previous first fit search has been ended. While searching, the first hole that is found to be large enough for a process to accommodate is selected. For example, if I have a requirement of 7 blocks for my file, then OS goes through the block list and then allocate the entry which blocks equal to or more than the 7 block. The next one is best fit. This method needs the list of free holes to be sorted according to their size. Then the smallest hole that is large enough for the process to accommodate is selected from the list of free holes. This strategy reduces the wastage of memory as it does not allocate a hole of larger size which leaves some amount of memory even after the process accommodates the space. The last one is worst fit. This method requires the entire list of free holes to be sorted. Here again, the largest hole among the free holes is selected. This strategy leaves the largest leftover hole which may be useful for the other process. What is the advantage of using contiguous memory allocation? The advantage of using it is it increases the processing speed. As the operating system uses buffered input-output and read the process memory block consecutively, it reduces the head movement. These speeds up the processing. Now, what are the disadvantages? The main disadvantage of contiguous memory allocation is memory wastage and inflexibility. As the memory is allocated to the file or a process, keeping in mind that it will grow during the run, but until a process or a file grow, many blocks allocated to it remains unutilized, and then even they cannot be allocated to the other process, leading to the wastage of memory. in case the process or the file grows beyond the expectation, that is beyond the allocated memory block, then it will abort with the message no disk space available, leading to inflexibility. The next allocation method is non-contiguous method. Considering the problem in contiguous allocation, this method was involved. In this, maximum size of file does not have to be predicted at the beginning. The file can grow with time as per the need. This reduces wastage of space, and operating system automatically allocates additional block as per the requirement without aborting any program. There are two methods of implementing the allocation. One is chained allocation, which was used in older version of operating system like MS-DOS, and the other one is indexed allocation, which can be used in Unix. Let's know what is chain allocation in detail. This is non-contiguous allocation. So next block is traversed using pointer field, which gives address of the next block in same file. In DOS, these pointers are kept externally in file allocation table, that is FAT. In MS-DOS, file allocation table is used as shown in the figure. In this scheme, the block can have 512 or 1024 bytes. There are 3 files in our system. File A has been allocated blocks like 5, 7, 3, 6, 10. File B has been allocated block as 4, 8, 11. File C has been allocated blocks like 9, 2 and 12. The file directory entries for these 3 files have been shown in the figure. The next method, that is indexed allocation. Index of block is maintained. It is externalized list of pointer. Then the file directory entry should point to that index. Index is maintained in various ways. For example, for a file, list of pointer is shown in the figure given. Here the index block is 12. It is specified in the directory entry, and each file pointer will again return to the index block to refer to the other file pointer. For example, if the index block is 12 and if I want to move to 9, so I will jump again to index block 12 and then I will see where the 9th file is located. Same way, to locate 4th index block, again I have to come back to index block 12, and from 12th index block I will get the block for 4. Same way for 5 and 2. The next topic of information management is device driver. What is basically a device driver? Device drivers are software programs required for each device. Each device will require different drivers for different device as per functionality. For example, printer will have different software program, scanner will have different software program. Even if I have printer with different version, it will be having a different software program according to its functionality. So the programs which are used by these hardware devices are termed as device driver. A device driver knows how the buffer, flag, register control and status bits should be used for a particular device. For simply reading a character from a device involves complex sequence of device specific operation. Some device drivers are useful for data conversion. Devices basically deals with 8-bit or 16-bit of data, but computer nowadays operate on 32-bit to 64-bit data bus. Therefore, device driver enables this conversion from one form to the other. You can use this device driver from a library, so you don't have to write a code every time. Our next topic is VDU, that is Visual Display Unit. Terminal hardware can be divided into 2 parts: the keyboard, which is used for input medium, and video screen, which is used as an output medium. Combination of these 2 terms is termed as VDU, that is Visual Display Unit. So VDU is a common input output medium. There are two types of terminal which we use. One is dumb terminal and the other one is intelligent terminal. What is dumb terminal? It can have a microprocessor inside it and limited memory. It is responsible for basic input and output of characters. It is called dumb because it does not do any processing on the input characters. The next one is intelligent terminal. Intelligent terminal has a powerful hardware and software inbuilt. It has more amount of memory compared to a dumb terminal. It can carry out some process on input characters and process program independently. I can give you an example for dumb terminal. If you go on a railway station and you see a display unit on the railway station or even on the airport, the timings displayed of the airplanes are dumb terminal, wherein there is an input done from one side and you get it on the output terminal, that is on the display unit which is there on the airport. Intelligent terminal is your computer. Moving on to the last topic of information management, that is video RAM. What is video RAM? It's basically the memory that the terminal hardware itself has. Anytime all the characters stored in video RAM are displayed on the screen by the video controller using display electronics. All particular informations are stored in the video RAM. Video RAM consists of 2000 data bytes, that is from 0 to 1999, preceded by 2000 corresponding attribute bytes, that is 0 to 19999, as shown in the figure. We'll learn about data bytes and attribute byte in the next PPT. A typical alphanumeric screen can display 25 lines each consisting of 80 characters, and that is 25 into 80 is 2000 characters, as we have seen in the diagrams in the first PPT. Data byte. What is data byte basically? All 2000 characters are stored in video RAM. To display any specific character on the screen at a specific position, all ASCII or EBCDIC code for that character is to be moved into the video RAM. What is attribute byte? There is one attribute byte for each data byte. This byte tells the video controller how the character is to be displayed. It signifies whether the corresponding data character which is stored next to it in the video RAM is to be displayed bold, italic, underline, blinking, or in a reverse video, etc. So because of the video RAM, we term keyboard as a memory map terminal. Why it is a memory map terminal basically? Terminals have a video RAM generally with 2000 data byte preceded by 2000 corresponding attribute byte. Anytime all the 2000 character, that is 25 lines into 80 columns on screen stored on video RAM are displayed on the screen by the video controller. The video RAM is treated as a part of main memory only. Therefore, for moving any data in or out of the video RAM, ordinary load or store instructions are sufficient. So keyboard is referred as memory map terminal. Also, the following multiple memory locations are involved in input-output operation between the keyboard and the screen. The first memory is small memory within the keyboard itself. When the character is keyed in, the 8-bit ASCII EBCDIC code is generated, which is stored temporarily in the memory of the terminal itself. Next one is video RAM, which is having a data and attribute byte. The ASCII and EBCDIC code for the character is to move to the video RAM at the corresponding position with appropriate coordinates. Third one is operating system buffer memory, that is it has one buffer for each terminal and two separate buffer for input and output operation. And the last memory is input-output area of the application program itself. When the user finishes keying in the data stored in operating system buffer for that terminal is flushed out to the input-output area of the application program which wants the data. Before I sign off for today's video lecture, Let's look at the board question, which will be coming from the following topics. Write a note on file organization. Write a note on allocation method. What are device driver? What is VDU? Explain the following term: dumb terminal and intelligent terminal. Explain uses of video RAM. Explain data bytes and attribute byte. Why keyboard is referred as memory map terminal. Explain multiple location involved in the input-output operation between the keyboard and screen. Thank you. Till then, stay home, stay safe. Love and peace from TVM family.